Hello everyone, and we thank you for joining us for the 42nd Matt's Weather Weekly Weather News. Today is Wednesday, March 21st, 2012, the first day of spring. Okay, and today, after we give you your Channel 3 early warning 7-day forecast, we're going to, as promised last week, be reading an article about the Willy's car from Popular Science magazine from January of 1952. So we'll be getting to that. But first, your very mild 7-day forecast. Tomorrow, Thursday, March 22nd, areas of fog early, then mostly sunny with record warmth likely. High 82 inland, 74 at the shore. And remember, it's only March 22nd tomorrow. Friday, mostly sunny and a bit cooler. High 75 inland, 73 at the shore. Saturday, mostly cloudy with a chance for a light rain shower in the afternoon or evening. High 63 inland, 55 at the shore. So a little bit cooler this weekend, because then on Sunday we have cloudy and cool with showers and drizzle. High 53 inland, 55 at the shore. Monday, mostly sunny and pleasant. High 58 inland, 60 at the shore. Tuesday, mostly sunny and breezy. High 57 inland, 60 at the shore. And on Wednesday, March 28th, partly sunny, breezy, and milder. High 62 inland, 56 at the shore. So as we finish out this week, it's going to be very mild. But as we get in the weekend, it's going to cool down a little bit, and it's going to get a little bit warmer again as we get into next week, but it's not going to get as warm as it has been this past week and as it will be for the rest of this week. So that's the gist of that. Very mild temperatures recently. It's really been quite nice out. Okay, and now moving on to our little article today. I'm going to be reading this article to you. Found this old Popular Science from January 1952 in some of my grandfather's old garbage that he likes to call treasure. I just thought it was very interesting reading it myself, so I figured I would share it with you. America's new light car. Ever since the war, now remember, keep in mind this is January 1952, right after the World War II era. Ever since the war, lean, energetic Ward Cannonday, head of Willy's Overland, has dreamed of putting out a light car that would seat 6 people. Last month, he did it. He announced the light automobile that rides like a Cadillac or a Lincoln and gets up to 35 miles on a gallon of gas. It's pretty wild. Some cars today can't top that. Cannonday did even better. He powered his vehicle with a 90 HP engine having a compression ratio of 7.6 to 1, second highest in the industry for standard-sized cars, and made it run on ordinary, non-premium fuel. What the design amounts to is a brand new class of U.S. automobile. Despite a wheelbase of only 108 inches, it does seat 6 passengers of average displacement comfortably. Front and rear seats are exactly the same width, a roomy 61 inches. The new Willys has more horsepower per pound of car than anything else in its price class. Its 6-cylinder engine develops more horsepower per cubic inch of piston displacement than that of any other U.S. car, regardless of price. At 50 miles an hour in overdrive, it will run for 500 highway miles on one filling of its 18-gallon tank. It is hundreds of pounds heavier than the other 2 light American cars, the Nash Rambler convertible and the Kazar Frazier Henry J. But it is hundreds of pounds lighter than a Ford, Chevrolet, or a Plymouth. It's not cheap. It costs considerably more than a Henry J and a bit more than a Rambler, Ford, Chevrolet, or Plymouth. Willys Aero car, as they decided to call it, is, in the company's own words, a light quality automobile. It was not until we drove this car on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway that we began to appreciate what the man Cannonday, then board chairman, meant when he laid down the law to the Willys engineering department 2 years ago. I haven't the slightest idea what it's going to look like when you're through, he said, but here's what it's got to do. He ticked off his fingers what he wanted. Economy, performance, quietness, and an exceptional ride, and finally ease of handling. He wasn't disappointed. The car has SCAT. S-C-A-T. Not really familiar with that term. SCAT. Going through all forward gears, we accelerated to 60 miles an hour in 20 and a half seconds. Now, isn't that interesting? Back in the day, in the 1950s, accelerating to 60 miles an hour in 20 and a half seconds was considered extremely good. And today we can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles an hour in much quicker time. The Willy's engineering department had posted a figure of 17 and a half seconds from 0 to 60 miles an hour and held doggedly to it despite our report from the driver's seat. So they group tested out the Willy's car on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and got from 0 to 60 in 20 and a half seconds, but the Willy's manufacturing team there, they said that we can do 0 to 60 in 17 and a half seconds in this car. Either way, we can still do a lot better today. We're inclined to split the difference with a tuned engine. The car we drove hadn't been touched after a long, hard road test. It was the engine that got us. Last year, Willy's brought out its 4-cylinder F-head engine, which has a big overhead intake valve and an exhaust valve in chamber like the L-heads. The F-head is now adapted to the new 6, and the results are little sort of sensational. The car walked right on past 60 to 70 and then 80 and then pegged its speed at 86 miles an hour in direct drive. The engineering department had stated with condemnable conservatism that 70 was tops without overdrive. But it wasn't the speed that impressed us most, it was the smoothness of the engine. Whatever vibration it had was effectively insulated from the body. In overdrive, the car did only a little better at 89 miles an hour. It cruised beautifully at 75 miles an hour. It seems like what most people kind of cruise at today, about 75 miles an hour on a highway. And this was kind of big that the car cruised comfortably and quietly at 75 miles an hour because it was something that wasn't very common and wasn't really seen before at this time in 1952, early 1950s. Even with ordinary gas, hard acceleration gave no knock, coasting down to and indicated 10 miles an hour. We put the accelerator on the floorboard. If a ping developed, we would have heard it. The engine operation was that quiet. So two things promptly didn't happen. No jerk occurred as the engine surged, and there was no ping. Just to be sure, we did it twice more, still no ping. So in other words, very quiet acceleration, when they suddenly floored the gas pedal. The absence of jerking under full throttle was something else again. Here was a car with direct mechanical connection between the engine and the rear wheels, and it seemed to us that there was bound to be some lash in the powertrain. Yet both the engine and the power transmission displayed excellent smoothness. Here is why. The basic frequency of the engine power plant, the one you would get if you could hit the engine like a tuning fork, is below the vibration frequency generated by crankshaft and piston at idling speed. The engine will stall before it vibrates enough to set up any escalation in its mounts. As engine speed increases, the disparity between generated vibration frequency and the basic frequency of the engine becomes even greater. As for cushioning the drive, it would be easier if the car had a fluid coupling. The fluid is the cushion, but the Willy's has none. And it goes on for several more pages, but that's really the summary of it, the gist of it. Just thought that was a very interesting thing to share with you because, as I stumbled upon this magazine a couple weeks ago. That'll do it for the 42nd Matt's Weather Weekly Weather News. Any questions, comments, email me, mattsweather1@AOL.com. We are still looking for an assistant meteorologist and a creative producer. We have had a few other interested people come forward. We're still looking for some other interested people to come forward. So assistant meteorologist, creative producer, we're still looking for those two positions to be filled. If you're interested in either of those positions, you can email me, mattsweather1@AOL.com, or any other way you know how to get in touch with me. And we hope you join us next week for the 43rd Matt's Weather Weekly Weather News on Wednesday, March 28th. We'll see you then.